Imagine this. China suddenly unlocks a resource more precious than oil, but only for civilians, leaving the US military scrambling in the dark. That's the wild twist unfolding right now with rare earth elements, those obscure metals shaking up global supply chains. Just weeks ago, Beijing announced a one-year suspension of its latest export controls on rare earths and other critical minerals, starting November 2025. According to Reuters and the New York Times, this move comes hot on the heels of new restrictions imposed in October, which targeted everything from rare earth processing tech to lithium battery materials. Now they're hitting pause, but with strings attached. Exports will flow easier to verified civilian end users in the US, like tech firms building EVs or chips, but anything tied to defense? Forget it. This follows China's restoration of soybean and timber imports from America, signaling a potential thaw in trade tensions under the incoming Trump administration. The drama peaks here. China still dominates 70 to 80% of the world's rare earth supply, per the latest USGS data from 2025. These aren't just shiny rocks. They're the secret sauce in high-tech weapons, radar systems, EVs like Teslas, and even your smartphone's chips. A single tweak in exports could spike prices, hobble production lines, and jeopardize national security. Remember 2010? China briefly cut off supplies to Japan over a territorial spat, sending prices skyrocketing tenfold. Fast forward to today. This suspension eases immediate fears in Washington and Brussels, but it's temporary, expiring in November 2026. Why the flip-flop so soon after tightening the screws? Hold up. What if this concession is actually a masterstroke in disguise, buying time while the world stays hooked? Let's dig deeper. Beyond the headlines, mainstream media fixates on China's stranglehold as a threat, but rarely spotlights why it happened. Decades of Western neglect. The US and EU shied away from mining rare earths due to brutal environmental costs. Think toxic waste poisoning rivers and soil, as seen in China's own Bayan Obo mine in Inner Mongolia. Meanwhile, Beijing invested heavily, turning dominance into a geopolitical ace. But here's the overlooked angle. This suspension might reinforce dependency. Short-term relief could lull the West into complacency, delaying diversification. If the deal crumbles post-2026, imagine the fallout, not just pricier iPhones, but stalled F-35 jets or hypersonic missiles, eroding US military edge amid rising tensions in the South China Sea. Flip the script. Instead of panicking over restrictions, why isn't the world asking how to break free? Australia, with massive reserves in places like Mount Weld, is ramping up production through companies like Linus, but faces its own green hurdles. Vietnam's untapped deposits in the northwest could become a game-changer, potentially drawing US investment to counterbalance China. Yet corruption and infrastructure woes slow progress. Even Africa, from Madagascar to South Africa, holds promise. But exploitation risks eco-colonial pitfalls, sparking local unrest and ethical dilemmas rarely covered. Globally, this creates a ripple. EU's Green Deal pushes for EVs, but rare earth shortages could inflate costs, slowing the shift from fossil fuels and worsening climate goals. And China's internal cracks? Protests over pollution in mining hubs like Guangzhou are brewing, hiking domestic costs and eroding Beijing's long-term edge. So is this suspension a weak spot exposed or a ploy to consolidate while others dither? At the end of the day, rare earths are the wild card in the US-China showdown, with echoes rippling to Europe, Asia, and beyond. But if no one seizes the moment to diversify, who really wins? What do you think? Time for a global mining renaissance, or are we doomed to dependency? Stick with Libo News for the angles everyone else misses.